Alright, so Crimson Desert just dropped the full breakdown of their combat and progression systems. There's a lot going on over here. Lots of flashy moves. Let's get right into it. First off, the combat. It looks visceral and really impactful. Hits don't just land, they connect. Enemies stagger, bodies react. There's weight behind swings, grapples, and kicks. And that's important, because a lot of open world RPGs look good in trailers, but feel floaty once you actually play them. I mean, I love The Witcher 3, but the combat always felt really loose and floaty. From what they showed here, Crimson Desert seems to be leaning more toward grounded physics-based combat, a really good sign if you ask me. The weapon variety is also interesting, with sword and shield, spears, great swords, axes, ranged options. What really caught my attention was how they emphasized switching between weapons on the fly. Meaning that it's not just for licks, different weapons likely have different utility against different enemy types or boss mechanics. This will add a great deal of depth to the game. I hope it doesn't go down the this one does slightly more DPS route, and it just becomes superficial. So I think the real question will be, does the game force you to think about your loadout, or can you brute force everything with one favorite build? I usually go for the latter, but hey, to each its own. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The grappling and hand-to-hand mechanics. You're not just swinging your weapons, but you're chaining different weapon skills into punches, kicks, throws, and slams. It reminds me a bit of Dragon's Dogma here, with a kind of cinematic flow. Even hints of something like God of War and how combos transition. I'm hoping it's not stiff or input delayed. Combat systems like this live or die on responsiveness. And then you got the classic elemental powers, burn, freeze, and stun. On paper, just standard RPG stuff, but the key is how integrated it feels. Are these all just passive damage modifiers, a 2.3% buff to left ankle kicks or something? Or do they meaningfully change how encounters play out? Because if freezing enemies actually alters crowd control, or burning spreads between targets, or if stun windows open up specific combo chains, then suddenly we're talking about build depth. If it's just colored damage numbers, that's just surface level crap. Mobility also seems central to combat. I've seen slides, dodges, counters, swings, all flowing directly into attacks. That tells me this is probably a timing-heavy system, which is great. A bit of Neo in there, a bit Soulsy, but it looks faster and more aggressive than Souls. Less stamina punishments, more forward pressure. It looks like they're pushing for more of an aggressive playstyle, maybe a bit more towards a Bloodborne angle. Now let's take a look at progression, because this is where things really matter long-term. Cliff at full power looks insane. They made it very clear that you don't start like that though. You wake up stripped down, completely naked, limited and basic. Heck, some of my favorite Souls runs have been with the Waste of Skin in Bloodborne or the Wretch in Elden Ring. Meaningful progression only works if you feel like a weak ass at first. The whole transformation from Survivor to Powerhouse, that's the core fantasy, right? But how you get there seems flexible. Pretty promising. Another important part of progression is centered around the artifact system. These are fragments of the abyss found through exploration, bosses, and quests. These increase core stats like health and stamina, unlock new skills, or enhance existing ones. So it seems like progression isn't purely XP based, it's discovery driven. That's good, because it incentivizes exploration in an open world I hope isn't empty. Games like Avowed really let me down with such big, empty spaces with nothing really to do. But again, the execution matters. Are artifacts rare and meaningful, or are they scattered everywhere like a checklist? I'm really hoping for more along the lines of Red Dead 2, rather than any Ubisoft title over the last 10 years. One other detail I really liked was that some skills can't be unlocked through artifacts alone. You have to observe them in the world. Really check the surrounding areas for clues. You might learn some techniques from enemies, others from mentors, maybe from specific story encounters. That really adds to the immersion. And then we have build direction. Do you boost stamina to explore more? Do you focus on being a suplexing, rock bottom giving stone cold stunner monster? Probably. Do you want to optimize for elemental magic like some sort of pansy? Either way, it looks kinda awesome. I'm hoping you can respec on a whim if you want to try out other builds. Otherwise, that could be a bit frustrating for players who are stuck with something they're not exactly in love with. Gear progression looks robust, lots of the classic tropes in crafting, mining, hunting, boss drops, hidden treasures, upgrading weapons and armor for higher stats, customizing your equipment with additional effects. On paper, that's everything you want in a classic RPG loop. Hopefully, it doesn't become too bloated or unclear. And now the bosses. This is where Crimson Desert might separate itself. There's a good deal of variety with what's been shown so far. I don't know if it will reach Neo or Elden Ring level boss fights, but it's looking promising. Some of the boss rewards seem to grant access to signature abilities. One of them they showed had a knight spawning like some sort of JoJo stand behind you and backhanding your enemies. Maybe these rewards will change your playstyle entirely, which could be all kinds of stupid fun. That's strong design, if you balance it properly. So, stepping back, it's trying to mix Devil May Cry with Elden Ring, some Neo in the mix, and what seems like a bit of Microsoft Flight Simulator from the looks of it. Looks good. Almost too good to be true. Well, if everything clicks, this could feel like one of the best open world combat systems we've seen in years. I'm just hoping the frame rate holds up. There's no way it could really look and play that well, right? It'll be up to the players to be the real testers as always. Personally, I'm cautiously optimistic. The combat has weight and flash, lots of style oozing out of each move and attack, but nothing is better than testing it yourself. Trailers are one thing, but real gameplay is messy. So let me know what you think. Are you sold on the combat, or are you still waiting to see if it actually feels good in practice? That's all from me for now. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one.